Et salut à tous, on se retrouve aujourd'hui sur une nouvelle vidéo de Stanley Parable et je vais essayer plusieurs choses. Déjà parce qu'on m'a suggéré en commentaire de tester 2-3 trucs. Alors le premier ça va être... Ça c'est bizarre ça.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est bizarre ça, non?
No matter how hard Stanley looked,
c'est bizarre,
he couldn't find a trace
bon
of
bref,
his
on m'a suggéré de
coworkers.
regarder sur les PC. Apparemment, on m'a donné l'emplacement d'un des postes. Alors faudrait déjà que je retrouve les premiers. Mais je sais pas si... Je sais pas quand ils s'affichent les premiers. Enfin bref, on m'a donné ça. Et je me suis fait un petit tableau, je vous l'ai mis en description de la vidéo et je l'ai mis aussi en description de toutes les vidéos précédentes qui va nous permettre de savoir un petit peu dans quel sens on doit aller, en gros.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Typiquement, je disais à un moment, ce serait sympa les endroits qu'on a déjà fait, de plus les voir. Et bah là c'est ça le but. C'est que sur mon petit tableau, qui est un diagramme en fait, tous les endroits que j'ai déjà fait, ils sont listés, comme ça m'évitera de faire des trucs en doublon. Ok, donc là, ce qu'on a déjà fait, c'est... Tu parles trop, la voix off, là, monsieur le narrateur. On a déjà essayé de sauter en bas, on a déjà essayé de sauter ici. En sautant ici, on a eu les portes rouges et bleues, on a fait les deux. Par contre, en haut, on avait un téléphone. Et on a répondu, mais on aurait pu ne pas répondre. Et on va voir ce que ça fait si on ne répond pas.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white.
Et je suis pas d'accord, ça s'est pas passé comme ça la dernière fois.
Picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Oh là.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best path to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Ok. Bon, en gros, au début, il n'y avait pas les traductions, mais ça disait dans la vie, on peut faire des choix. Les choix peuvent être bons ou mauvais, et en gros, ça nous présentait le monsieur qui devait faire un choix. Tiens, c'est marrant, ils ont mis des grilles. On peut plus sauter. Ah oui, d'accord.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would
Oui,
make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Ok. Ne mentez pas, si vous êtes en train de mentir là tout de suite, arrêtez.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
C'est bizarre. C'est tout cassé.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Oh là là.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Youpla!
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Oh.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, il n'y a plus marqué que c'est les bathrooms. Ok. Oh.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Oh.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Ça marche pas. Requin marteau 115. C'était ça?
Stanley spoke the code.
Requin marteau 115.
115.
Allez le jeu.
He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Oui, mais il a pas de voix, Stanley.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley?
C'est moi, c'est Stanley.
Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
Quoi, Zuen?
Walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, You hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Mhm. Oh. Ok. Bon, bah, c'est reparti.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ah bah là, il y a de nouveau les chiffres.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ah. Ok, alors, input received. On recommence.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Là, 2. On m'a dit, il y en a un dans le bureau du boss.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Non. On recommence. Peut-être qu'il faut juste recommencer. Ok, on y va. On va dans le bureau du boss.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Et il est sage aujourd'hui, Stanley, hein, t'as vu? Bon, juste avant, il était pas très sage, mais alors là...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ouais. Ok. Hop. On recommence. On en a 3.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Ah, là.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace.
On recommence. Et là, c'est le dernier. Je sais pas pourquoi je fais ça, mais moi il y a des boutons, je clique, hein, ça me paraît évident. Et beaucoup trop long. C'est tout ? Bon. Sachant que les boutons se désappuient, on va pas essayer de tout faire. Donc je pense qu'on va recommencer. Parce que le paradis c'est pas ouf en fait. Hein. Oh là là, c'est épuisant.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Oui, je pense. Bon alors, on m'a dit de tester un truc aussi. Voilà. De faire ça et ça. Oh.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Oh. Non.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Ok. Bon, on va recommencer alors. Allez, go.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Bah,
no matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Je pouvais monter tout à l'heure.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see
Pourquoi je
weather.
peux pas monter? Ah. Non? Mais attends, je suis montée un peu là comme... Ah oui, ok. Alors attends. Voilà. Bon, il doit y avoir une technique, hein, je l'ai pas encore.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
D'accord,
There
d'accord.
once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He
Bon,
pushed
eh ben écoutez,
some kind of glutton.
sur cette petite musique mignonnette,
In a
on va se laisser.
way.
On va laisser le narrateur s'amuser de son côté. J'espère que vous continuez à apprécier la série. N'hésitez pas à me dire si vous avez trouvé des petits trucs que j'ai pas encore trouvés. J'essaie quand même de fouiller un petit peu hors caméra pour être capable de vous proposer des trucs, mais je passe sûrement à côté de plein de choses. Donc n'hésitez pas à m'en faire part. Je pense que le jeu, ceci dit, sera bientôt terminé parce qu'à mon avis on arrive sur la fin. En tout cas, on se retrouve très prochainement pour le prochain épisode. D'ici là, portez-vous bien. Ciao, bye bye!